So recently I reshelled my Game Boy Advance SP-101 after breaking the shell on it a while back. And I just kind of make this video just kind of going over the quality and the feel of the replacement parts I used on this versus a stock Game Boy Advance like I have here. And you can see in addition to the shell, I gave it some reproduction red buttons, which I think look pretty nice with the black shell. And I gave it this glass screen as opposed to the plastic one you find on a stock Game Boy Advance, which should make the picture just a little bit clearer on it. So yeah, hopefully you'll find this informative if you're planning on reshelling Game Boy Advance SP yourself for the first time, and this will just kind of be what you can expect from the replacement parts and the process of reshelling it. The first thing I think I'll get to is the shell itself, and it's pretty, overall I'd have to say it's pretty good quality. I like it, and I've used it, and I don't really see any major problems with it. That said, you can definitely tell a difference if you've played a Game Boy Advance SP for any period of time, and you use one with a reproduction shell and a regular shell. The reproduction shell feels just a little bit cheaper, just a little bit more flimsy, and also it's not as smooth like texture. It feels a little bit coarse. Again, it's pretty close, and depending on where you got the shell from, maybe it's different. I seriously doubt there's a big difference in quality between any of the parts that I use from one seller to the next. I seriously doubt there's that many different places making parts, and that they vary in quality so widely. But, it could be. I don't really know. You can also tell there's a loss of definition, like on things like where it says select and start engraved in the plastic. You can tell it's just a little bit kind of clearer on an original shell. So just kind of things like that. There's also some spots here you can tell it's kind of curved, like that bottom line a little bit compared to an original shell. Oops, come on. So yeah, it's just not quite the quality. You're not gonna buy one of these and try to pass it off as a real shell. It'd be a pretty scummy thing to do in the first place, but you wouldn't get away with it if you were dealing with someone that knows anything about Game Boys. So, and then the next topic, the buttons. These also have a different texture to them. It's a lot more noticeable than the shell itself. They're just kind of, again, just kind of rougher. They feel, like these are pretty much completely smooth. And you can feel, again, I don't really notice it that much when I'm playing. You can definitely tell these aren't original buttons. But overall, I think I'm happy with the trade-off between the color and, I like the red color, and they never made them in that color. So, it's just take these or leave them, and I like them. The feel's about the same. I would say maybe these are a little bit clickier than this one, the original one, but I don't know, it still feels about the same. Also, one thing I forgot to mention when I was filming this originally is that you can tell there's a difference between where it says Game Boy Advance SP on the replacement glass screen and where it says Game Boy Advance SP on a stock like plastic screen. You can definitely tell it's a big difference, especially in the SP. It's kind of fatter on the glass screen than on the original. But, again, overall, it's pretty close, and I don't have a problem with it. But, yeah, just something I thought I'd point out, because there is a small difference. And then the other thing I want to get to is the hinges. If you're buying a reproduction shell, it would probably be better off buying reproduction hinges as well, because these are just a little bit too big, I think, to go in the shell. And I tried forever to try to get them in. I looked up information online for as many sources as I could find. I got my family to help me. I just tried everything I could think of, and they just would not go in no matter what I did. And so I just gave up. I actually am kind of ashamed to admit I took a hammer and just kind of hammered them in, because that was the only way I could even get them to go in. And so as a result, they're just a little bit stiff. It'll stay in the same spot or around the same spot as like a regular hinge. So if you're doing that yourself, I would, again, I haven't actually used the reproduction hinges, so I hesitate to recommend something I've never used or even seen, but I would imagine, and based on what other people what I've heard from others, that the reproduction hinges will fit better in the shell. But yeah, everything else, this label was pretty damaged on the Game Boy Advance. I took it from the original shell. They sent me an AGS 001 label, and I would, of course, have a 101 model, so I just took the hair dryer, heated this up a little bit, and then just kind of peeled it off with an iPod opening tool. and it's not on there perfectly straight, but it's pretty straight. So yeah, overall, like I said, I'm pretty happy with it. If you're doing this yourself, you know, understand that you're not getting, it's not going to be indistinguishable from an original. So for that reason, like when this was just destroyed, the shell on it. You know, there was like a ribbon cable exposed from the screen, and I didn't have much of a choice. It was either just stash it in my closet or sell it broken, or, you know, if I wanted to have a working AGS 101, I would have to reshell it. And so I figured while I was at it, just go ahead and do the buttons, give it a glass screen, you know, make it pretty much the colors that I want and everything look good. But for something like this, where it's just dirty and scratched up, I would never reshell, you know, a Game Boy like this, because, you know, as long as there's no like actual major damage to it, yeah, if I were you, I would think very hard about replacing the shell. You know, of course, it's your Game Boy, you can do what you want with it, but for the work that it was to get the hinges in, for, you know, the product that's not quite exactly what an original would be, it's just not quite the quality of the original. I would never think about replacing the shell on one just because it's dirty or just because it's a little bit scratched up. So yeah, overall, I hope you found this video to be informative, and if you're doing this yourself, maybe you learned something from it that you can use. And anyways, just thanks for watching, and please leave a like and subscribe. I'm getting real close to 200. I have a 200 subscriber sort of like special video coming out just as soon as I hit that. So yeah, thanks for watching.